Hello, I'm Dr. James Thomas. Welcome to Laryngology 101. I'm a laryngologist, which is to say, someone who enjoys studying the vocal cords. In this episode, I'd like to share with you vocal nodules, how they occur and what they look like. Now let's take a look at your vocal cords. This is my voice laboratory, and we're going to use what's called a flexible endoscope. This is called specifically a video chip endoscope. The essence of what we're going to do today, though, is use this flexible endoscope, which has a light on the end, and we're going to pass it into the person's nose. We'll pass it along the floor of the nose beneath the turbinates, and when we get to the back, we'll turn the endoscope around the corner, and we'll be able to look at the person's vocal cords. Let's take a closer look. In this view of the vocal cords, the front of the neck is at the bottom of the screen. The vocal cords come to a point right below the tip of the Adam's apple. Because we're looking down from above, the right vocal cord is on the left side of the picture and the left vocal cord is on the right. In this view, the vocal cords are apart so that air can go in and out of the lungs, and we can see the first two rings of the trachea. In the back are two bumps, and these are the joints that open and close the vocal cord. They're sometimes mistaken for nodules in people who've never seen the voice box before. At the bottom of the picture is the epiglottis. It's basically a soft piece of cartilage, much like your ear, that flips down and covers up the voice box when you swallow. The vocal cord itself is a muscle that stretches from this white point to this cartilage back here. It's covered with a layer of lubricant and then skin. There are two positions of the vocal cord, open for breathing and closed or adducted for making a sound. And when we go to make a sound, if we turn on a strobe light, we can see what the vocal cords are doing in slow motion. Vocal nodules are a result of overuse, primarily in terms of quantity, but also in terms of volume and perhaps in technique as well. And when they strike each other too often and too long, the same effect happens to the vocal cords that happens on the hands. That is, a callus begins to form, and a vocal nodule is essentially a callus of the vocal cord. Because of this, it will nearly always occur right in the middle where the vocal cords strike each other almost all the time. A nodule is fairly easy to detect by listening to a soft, high sound. At low pitches, which is where we speak most of the time, the vocal cords are short and lax, so they vibrate easily, even with a bump or a stiff area on them. We stretch the vocal cords as we go up in pitch, and this will make the bump stand out. And because we are tightening the cords, a callus will stiffen the vocal cords further to the point where they do not vibrate. A person with vocal nodules usually automatically compensates in two ways. They phonate louder to jumpstart the stiff cords, and they hold the vocal cords further apart to keep the bumps from touching and stopping the vibrations. Let's watch in slow motion the onset of phonation, and we can see the person pull the cords apart until they are allowed to vibrate. Let's look at a normal mucosal wave and compare it to the stiff wave in a nodule. When nodules touch, they can cause interesting sound effects like a jump in pitch, as suddenly only half the vocal cord is vibrating. One can hear diplophonia, that is two pitches, as the nodules touch, because the front and the back sections may vibrate at different pitches. Nodules are a thickening of the skin, and they can be very flat, or they can be very thick. They can be tiny and single, and only impair a single pitch. Let's look at an interesting case. Here we listen to a singer ascend in pitch. There's mucus accumulating in the middle of the vocal cords, so we cannot see if there are nodules, though she is a vocal overdoer, and mucus accumulation is a sign that the vibratory wave is dampened in this location, so it is suggestive. Then we hear the diplophonia from the vocal cord breaking up into two different segments. Singers abhor a bad sound, and often stop phonating at the first sign of a change in quality when, during a diagnostic exam, that is exactly what we want to happen and to see. For adequate detail in laryngology, it helps to get a good close-up view. Let's take another look. This time, an ultra-close look at the increasing pitch maneuver. Thread lines are capillaries and are supposed to run parallel to the vocal cords. The ectatic capillaries have grown across the cord because of the repeated vocal trauma. There's a white nodule on the left cord that is actually sitting on a broader base. It touches the other cord and causes the vocal breakup. With the thickening of the central vocal cord also comes the symptoms of excess mucus or phlegm. This phlegm is not really due to any excess mucus. Rather, since the vibrations in the center of the vocal cord are dampened, both due to the stiffness of the thickened skin and from the elevations touching each other, the mucus will move off the more actively vibrating portions of the vocal cord onto this central section. This accumulation causes the feeling of needing to clear the mucus frequently. You do need to clear the buildup, and quite honestly, I doubt that the clearing does much harm. The sensation of phlegm is really a symptom of the underlying problem, a vocal thickening. If you'd like more information about your voice or a higher resolution of this video, please visit www.voicedoctor.net.